In this universe,
in this galaxy, in this world, beneath the influencer clouds,
over the viral video fields,
off the information superhighway,
there are voices in the digital wilderness, whispering
more opinions.
If you listen,
you will hear.
welcome to Alex and the Garbage Man without the garbage. Instead, we have the Redneck. Hello.
Ahoy, hoy.
And first here is Casey. Now, if anyone was paying attention last week to The Harsh Truth, they did a movie review of Sleepaway Camp from 1983. And we all know those of us who have seen it, we all know what the ending is like. And Frank had a really good idea, which I blatantly stole. And I would like to play it for whoever's here now. So thank you to Frank for this idea.
Have you seen my wiener?
Okay, that's awesome.
Hello, Casey. Hope you're doing well. Casey is doing quite a bit of original Nintendo video game reviews right now on his channel, and I did watch his walkthrough of Doom and Doom 2 on the PlayStation. Good review. The beginning of the review, it starts off with a cameo from Vince Russo, and if you watch it, in the lower left corner, it's got a bro counter because Vince Russo is known for saying bro over and over and over again. I think he got up to 15, that was the highlight of the video for me. So yeah, that was great. Nick is somewhere out there. And speaking of Nick, for those of you who might be wondering what happened to the good Dr. Nick, the Ninja Garbage Man, I think this little explanation will help you.
I killed him. He was of no use to us.
Yeah. So if Nick ever shows up on this show again, it's going to be as the ghost of the Garbage Man, which is a subtle reference to the ghost of Craig T. Nelson, which they refer to on How Did This Get Made podcast, which is a great little show for those of you who don't know.
I was just thinking about Sleepaway Camp. Yeah, the ending is creepy with the face and everything, but the mother, that pale skin, like that weird, you know what I mean?
When I first saw Sleepaway Camp, I couldn't have been more than, I don't know, 10 or 12 years old. I bought it on Betamax when Wayne was trying to unload all those beta tapes. So for whatever reason, I bought it along with To the Devil a Daughter and God knows what other trash movies there were. And I didn't understand the ending at first. Then I watched it again years later. And I thought the explanation by the mother at the end, that seemed kind of thrown in there just to, soften the blow. But
Yeah.
I guess it makes a kind of sense.
Yeah, and that's just perfect for, if the religious right's watching it. Oh, look, trans, there you go. Turns into a killer. Praise Jesus.
Yeah. Meanwhile, there are documentaries out there called Jesus Camp and Kidnapped for Christ. Those are scarier than Sleepaway Camp.
Yeah. Or Buffalo Bill in the Silence of the Lambs too.
Yep. What a good actor that guy was. Ted Levine, he is. Really good actor.
Oh, yeah. does a good job with the voice. The only one I've heard come close to it is Seth Green does a really good impression.
Now, when you say Seth Green, are you referring to Robot Chicken?
Well, he actually, when he does the voice for Chris Griffin on Family Guy, he said if you watch the early, like first three seasons, he was trying to do an exact impression of Ted Levine.
Nice. Hmm. I I've watched clips of Robot Chicken and Family Guy, but never whole episodes. I never got into it for whatever reason. I keep saying, yeah, I'll get into TV one of these days,
Yeah.
and it still hasn't happened because there are all these movies out there where, oh, I haven't seen this or that or this or that yet. And then Frank, our friend on The Harsh Truth, he has a Substack. If you go to his community tab, you can see that he's got links to his Substack. And there's a movie that was it Tom Selleck? No, yeah, it was Tom Selleck, 1984's Runaway, which I've seen the cover for in Video Encounter, but never seen. But now I have a little bit of time, so I'm going to be getting into that at some point.
Hey, do you remember, like, because you mentioned like old Chopper's video, didn't he have the most brilliant system? Like the boxes stayed on the shelf, but you had those little tags that you unhooked, so everything was all in order. Like there was no work that the extra that they had to do.
Yes, yes. Now that you bring that up, yes, there were yellow tags for beta and there were white tags for VHS. I remember that now. You're right. That is a brilliant system.
Because yeah, I was because I didn't even think about it until you mentioned them, and I was like, oh shit, that that worked out really good because then you
Yeah.
didn't have to bring something back. And although the good thing about Wayne was he had the best arcade games that you could go to in town, even when the Family Fun Center was open for that 6 months.
Yeah, over at the Dixie Lee building. Yeah.
Well, they had the Snake Pit, but we're the cold beer store too. There used to be an arcade in there.
Jesus, that was a
But
long time ago.
I'm talking early, like 91, 92. I think was the latest it was in there.
You're right. Yes, it was somewhere around that. Jesus, I haven't thought about that in 30 years or so. Yeah, I remember the one at the Dixie Lee. I remember that very well. But now that you bring that up, yes, I remember that too. Oof. Yeah, the first time I ever played Street Fighter 2, the arcade game, that was at Wayne's when Shoppers Video was beside Shoppers Grocery or whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah, about way back in the day.
Oh yes. Yeah, when life was good.
Oh yeah, there was one there. I just saw what Nick posted there, and yeah, above the bowling alley.
Oh, damn. Yes.
Yeah, the floor in the Tyee. There was also one in the. I don't think I was even alive, but the old man told me a one where Dennis Grimard had the disco beside where the strip mall where Fields and the doctor's offices were in there. There was a disco in there, but there was an arcade in there too. Arcade pool hall back in the day.
Jesus, I don't remember that. Ah, well, I probably didn't go there. And if I did, it wasn't memorable at all. Nothing against
No.
Dennis Grimard, of course. Yeah, but on the floor of the Tyee, is that in the entryway when you first walk in against the far wall? Is that where they were?
I think so. Yeah, as far as I remember, yeah, against the far wall.
Damn. It's a shame that people didn't, take pictures of this stuff and post it on the Royal Mackenzie Museum or whatever Facebook page it's called, so we can, remember this stuff.
But I'll tell you something. It's neat because right beside this Chinese food place in Vegreville, like Mackenzie, there was a theater, one screen theater. So I went out for a cigarette break and I popped my head in because you could smell the fresh popcorn and took a look. Even though it wasn't the Tyee, it still blew my mind to see an old single screen theater like that.
And down by the screen, that must have been in the 80s because I don't remember seeing him down near the screen at all. Oh, well. Again, people should have taken pictures of the stuff back then. I'm sure someone did at some point.
Oh, I'm sure of it. I'm sure somewhere there's pictures of things and who knows. But the town seems to selectively remember things and not remember things. And
I think I got a few landscape shots lying around somewhere. Nothing really special or different, but I'll have to dig those up for another time.
it's funny because you look at like a town like Mackenzie, and I've said this to people, and it makes sense because Mackenzie, that's how come it has its there's certain slang that was Mackenzie only, certain things you mention it to a former resident, they're going to know what the hell you mean right away.
Yeah.
And I think I'm right, is that it's because we were that isolated. Even though it's only 29 kilometers, that made a huge difference to, because we didn't have highway traffic. We didn't have any other way to get in except the one highway.
Yeah, that's true. And I never did this, but I'm sure if you go to Ganahaz, there's a road that it just keeps going, and I have no idea where it goes or how far, but I'm sure it leads you somewhere. But before we go down that path, I would like to say hola to Bolo in the way that we all know how.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong.
How are you, Bolo?
So that road goes all the way up to Finley Bay. So it's, I don't know, if you look on a map, there's a part, and then you see the part where it goes to the dam. It's a little bit south of that where the Peace Arm is that goes to the dam.
Okay.
But right now I haven't been down there, so I don't know firsthand, but I heard they're trying to deactivate some of the road. And yeah. But there used to be like they called it a resort, but it was a lodge. There's a couple cabins out there and restaurant and a bunch of other things.
Every town should be treated, well, not treated, it should be looked at from a perspective of if this was a building and you're the fire marshal, there has to be 2 entrances / exits. And for Mackenzie, it's that, like you said, it's that one way in and out, and that's no good. There's got to be another, like a logging road or something like that.
And that's the scary thing about it is there's that point on the highway that you can go down the causeway, but if there's a fire north of that causeway road or south of it, you're screwed.
Yeah. That reminds me, I was looking on YouTube for no good reason because I live in a city now. Well, now. For those of you who don't know, I've lived in a city since 2001, and it's gotten to the point that I'm so desperate to leave, I started looking up ghost towns in BC just to see what was out there. And I came along a few, and I'm going to share it with the class, the results that I found. So, for example, abandoned ghost towns. So there are quite a few. There's Bradian, Kitsault, places I had never heard of, Sandon, Anyox, Jesus. This one, Destination Adventure, they go to quite a few places. If you go to their YouTube page, they've got quite a few videos on abandoned places they've been to. And if you look up, for example, let's say Bradian, BC, where does that take us? Well, off the beaten path, it looks like. And this is Okay, so it's not too far from Ogden, but where is Ogden? Let's have a little context. And you got to zoom out quite a bit. All right, 93, 140. You go north, Prince George is there. Okay, so Prince George, go south on the 97. And between Clinton and Cache Creek, if you take the 99, Jesus, it's way out there.
Oh,
How
that's
do you,
like that's in like the Badlands too.
yeah. How do you get there, I wonder? Is it by plane? Is there a dirt road that's just not shown here? I wonder.
Oh, there's probably a back road you can get to, but
I wonder then, what about Kitsalt?
that one is wicked cool.
All right, and zoom out for content. Oh, look at that. West Coast. So this dividing line, that is Alaska.
Yeah.
It's way up there.
And if you look at the pictures of Pripyat, you know, the Chernobyl city, and you look at pictures of Kitsalt, even though Kitsalt doesn't have a scary past or anything, it looks like it's like a time capsule into the early 80s.
And for context, Vancouver is here. Then there's Vancouver Island to the west. Port McNeill, which is pretty much it's Port Hardy, not Port McNeill, pretty much furthest north that you can get a ferry from. And you start going north up the Queen Charlotte Islands and weaving your way through. You have to go pretty far up there. Jesus, almost, right up into the top. And it's nestled away in there. Man, that'd be so cool to go to.
Oh, there's a mall. Like, there's an album somewhere online if you do a little bit of Googling. And there's pictures like a mall, schools, rec centers.
Yeah, see, it's places like this that I think about just going to and disappearing because of all the trashy people that I encountered day after day in real life, not here on the internet. I try.
And you see
it's easier to avoid people on the internet than it is in real life most of the time. Here's the other one, Anyox.
Well, you go a little bit north of there, and that's where Hyder, Alaska is. So that's where you get Hyderized, is not too far from there.
Okay.
There'll be a town on the BC side called Stewart, and right beside Stewart is Hyder.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, see, nestled away. And it looks like Stewart is populated. So not exactly a ghost town.
Yeah, the Hyder kids go to Stewart for school. It's weird.
Interesting.
Even though they're American, they're going to school in Canada every day.
Oh, where's text to show up and say, we got to put a stop to it so they don't learn about that communism.
Yeah. Damn commies.
I did some other looking with regards to ghost towns, and there are quite a few here on the West Coast. There's a channel, I can't remember. It's not Destination Adventure. There's another one. No, it's not BC Ghost Towns, but it's something like that. They look at ghost towns in the Kootenays. Ah, there it is. BC Ghost Towns and Travels. So Ghost Towns of the Kootenays. And it's only about a minute long or so. And just for context, the Kootenays, again, if we're looking at Vancouver, the Kootenays are over this way. I think it's somewhere between Kelowna and the Alberta border would be considered the Kootenay area. So Revelstoke, Nelson, Blue River, that kind of area, I think. But yeah, a lot of little ghost towns. There was one that I was looking up. I think it was somewhere. No, it wasn't here. It was okay. So Christina Lake, there is a ghost town. It completely doesn't exist anymore except for a sign, apparently. 18 kilometers from Christina Lake, and I can't remember what it was called. It was called Gladstone. I think it was renamed Gladstone from something else years and years and years ago, and it doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. But the isolation, even near the US border, just great. Again, you have to have a bunch of money to, have the time to explore all these little places. But it'd be
Oh
something
yeah.
to do. Yeah.
There's like, because you look at, and there's so many that they haven't preserved either, which just shocks the hell out of me. Because, like, you look just by Mackenzie there, Manson City. I think it's called Manson Creek or Manson City, one of the two. But that was a bustling place, at least into the tens of thousands during the gold rush.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
so it's on the other side of Williston, more towards Fort St. James.
Okay.
Right there, Manson Creek.
Ah, there it is. Jesus, how do you get there? Start hiking, I guess.
Yeah, no, road directly to it. I think there's even still a post office. Yeah.
And just so people know where we came from, this is Mackenzie. This is the 28 or 29 kilometer road that leads back to the highway, Highway 97. There is a junction here. And if you go across the Parsnip River, this is a hill, and Windy Point is here. Unfortunately, the Windy Point restaurant no longer exists. They had the biggest and tastiest burgers around. The Wimpy Burger. Sucks that it's gone. I don't know that there's a good enough replacement for it. Maybe somewhere in the United States.
Probably in Texas.
Yep. Where's Tex? I think because it's October, Tex is busy right now watching one of his 31 films to keep himself busy. What's on his horror list? So today is the 7th. He might be watching Funhouse Massacre from, I think that's 1986. I saw that last year. Okay, decent, not great, but it's a movie.
You must have seen American Gothic from 1980. I can't remember what 80 it was, 5 or 6, I think.
I don't think so.
It stars Rod Steiger and then Yvonne DiCarlo. But it just gives you the heebie-jeebies. Like just the characters in it. Something about inbred backwoods people is just, I don't know, seems more realistic than half the horror shit out there.
Put that on my list for another time. And places like Kennedy, I've never been to, but you can access it from Highway 97.
Well, I think Kennedy had people living there back in the 60s because all that is Kennedy sighting. That's where the caribou, you go look at the caribou and you can get right in there. But it's a major rail siding. So it used to be like a lot of traffic with the rail cars. And do you remember we had a blackout? I think it was 96 or 97. It was the dead of winter.
Yeah.
And we had, no power for like a day and a half.
Yep.
Well, Kennedy Siding is where the transmission lines come in from the Bennett Dam. And some idiot in town, I know who it is, I'm not going to say anything, thought it would be funny to shoot the transmission ceramics hitting the lines. And that's why we lost power that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope that guy got all the books thrown at him.
Well, he got out of it pretty easy, but he still got slapped a bit, but should have gotten more.
Yeah. Absolutely. And just for context for our American friends, British Columbia, the province that Nick and, pardon me, if this was 20 years ago, Nick would still be here. Ryan and I are currently in. This is a good 300 and I think it's just under 350,000 square miles. Now, for context, Texas is, I think, 246,000 square miles, something like that. If you look it up, you can get the exact numbers. But BC is a big place. A lot of places to explore. And again, if I had the time and the money, I would start exploring. If I could have my own boat, and of course, that's a money eater in itself, having a boat, maintaining it, storing it. I would go all up and down the Queen Charlottes, just looking at what's there. Like Klemtu, for example, sounds like something out of Star Trek. This tiny little place. Yeah, look at that. An Anchorage. Right in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't mean to disparage the residents who live there, but compared with where I am, that's pretty much the middle of nowhere.
But it's true. And BC is so unique because you got rainforest, you got coastal inlets, then you get mountains, prairies, deserts. Like it has everything.
Yes, and speaking of deserts, if we zoom out, we go into the interior because I like to go on this highway every once in a while. Highway 3, you go through Princeton, Headley, Karamias. I think it's somewhere around Karamias in the summer. It's really a nice drive. And I always go the 3A to Caledon up through Penticton and then to Peachland and Kelowna. Nice drive.
I briefly lived in Caledon for 2 months.
Oh. Yeah, nice area.
Beautiful. Do you know what's funny? If you go down into the bottom of the lake, like, because you get a Soyuz, but you go more into the Kootenays, and that's where technically Twin Peaks is.
Ah.
Even though the town for it's over by Washington.
Yeah.
By Seattle, I mean.
Yeah. Ben of the Drunken Peasants, he every once in a while he'll bring up Twin Peaks, and he's been to that restaurant where the damn great cup of coffee is, and I can't remember what the name of the restaurant is or where it is, but it's an actual place, and yeah, it's a place to go.
Yeah, Bend. Place is called Bend or North Bend, one around there. It's east of Seattle, and the restaurant's called Tweed's Cafe.
Marysville, I've been in there. Yeah, there's Seattle. So Bend, there it is, North Bend.
Yeah.
Yeah, right in there. So the I-90 going east. Yeah, North Bend. There you go. Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your geography lesson for the week.
Yeah, but people still don't know where the hell they are.
That I don't know if that's true. Sure, you get the interview with the person on the street, and when you ask them the most basic questions about geography or history or math or science, yeah, you've got them on the spot. So them trying to recall that information off the top of their head, that's when you get the nuggets of gold in terms of comedy. But
Yeah.
when people say, oh, if you took the average American and you had a map and you said, where is Europe? They wouldn't be able to point to it. I don't know that most wouldn't be able to, because it's pretty basic, the 7 continents, where they are.
You would think, but I think it's so hard to tell what's overblown and taken out of context to just how truly ignorant some people are.
Perhaps. Yeah. But I think it was grade 2. I'm going to guess grade 2 where we started looking at maps on a regular basis. And I think it was around that time. Yeah, Miss McDonald's class. That's when we saw the Berlin Wall fall. I'm pretty sure it was around that time. That's when we got in, at least to my recollection, that's when we got into looking at maps, learning about the world and where everything is in relation to us. Do you recall what age you were, what grade you were in when you started learning about the world?
Yeah, it was around the same time. It had to have been grade 3 or 4, because that's when, all Eastern Europe started, falling, right? So it was around that time, as far as I remember.
And then I imagine you've had this with your kids. I've heard other parents say this, that you learn something when you're young and then it just sticks with you. And then once you're older, when trying to explain those really easy things to kids, the mechanics of it, they you find that you get stuck in trying to explain it because you just know it intrinsically. But to try and break it down into its individual parts so that a kid understands, that's where it becomes difficult.
Yeah, it becomes difficult to the point where they look at you like you got a screw loose. But it's true though. Like there's certain things that you can explain that's just rolls off your tongue, muscle memory, whatever you want to call it. But to explain it to them is just blows my mind. Like, good luck. And it's the same thing as, when my Baba passed, I got her car. So I was cleaning it out. And of course, she has a map in there because she used to go to Edmonton. So it was a map of Edmonton. Of course, the map was also 30, like coming on 30 years old. And it was missing a lot of like the newer developments. But I'm thinking to myself, my kids wouldn't even know first thing to do, where to start, how to figure it out. Like they'd have trouble for a little bit with that because it's not digital.
Hmm. I guess that points to how old school some of us are. I bought 2 map books this year when I was traveling. This year, because I don't have maps on my phone. I don't have access to the internet on my phone. Data plans, they're not that expensive, but for the access that I have to the internet in other places, I don't need it on my phone. So that's why I got these I don't know, 1 foot by 10-inch map books. I love them. I refer to them not all the time because here in the lower mainland, I know pretty much where I'm going, main roads and such, and then finding little roads off that is easy enough. But going into BC or further north than that, I always have a map book with me just in case. Nothing on the phone. Always the old school book that you can flip through.
Yeah, but it's smart doing that because if like BC and Alberta, I can usually doesn't matter where I can get my way around. Anything east Alberta, I'd be screwed. So I would take a map if I'm going to drive through the states. Definitely taking a map. Don't want to get friggin' met by some toothless people in some backwater in Montana or something. No offense to anyone from Montana listening. It's the first state I thought of.
A more modern example would be West Virginia. The Appalachian Mountains, for example. There are some toothless characters up there. I think Elohim City is up around that way, if you've ever heard of that place.
I think it's come to mind or come to my brain a few times. But then again, there's some parts in BC where you go and yeah, it's off a highway, but you go in there and you kind of wonder like, who the hell would live here? Like, what is here? And then there's like the store in the middle of nowhere. And it has everything in it, but they don't call it a general store. It's like the gas station or the coffee shop.
Yeah. But At this point in my life, that is almost my, well, let's say vacation destination or dream destination or retirement place. Some really small, out of the way community that is close enough to a bigger city, say like Kelowna, for example, that has a Costco and a big old electronics store and an Amazon hub, for example, so that I can go there, load up, and go back to my in the forest hovel for months and months and months.
Yeah, as long as there's not enough snow. There's tons of areas like that around here. And Prince is really good because even though we don't have a hub here yet, I'm sure there's one coming. I order something, I usually get it within the day and a half at the most for prime shipments.
Nice.
But it all depends where you are too, or what you order. Sometimes I don't know. I like Amazon, but I hate it at the same time.
Yeah, there are some things on Amazon that I can't order because the place that I want it delivered to, we can't deliver there. Well, why not? It's got a bunch of boxes that are pretty much the same size as the mailbox here at my place, but they can't do it for some reason. So then that limits what I can buy. Let me tell you about how nutritious human flesh is.
Hey, I'm sorry, but if I didn't know what the hell was going on behind that gas station in Texas, I would have eaten that barbecue in a heartbeat. That shit looked good.
Yeah, put some ketchup on it. It all tastes like chicken in the end. So what the hell?
But you go out into like the oil country, like in the back woods of like Fort St. John, Dawson Creek. You'll be out in the middle of nowhere, and there'll be a cafe, like, and this place is packed. Like, good luck getting a table, and it'll be the best damn food you had, just because of all the workers out there. Like something like that is delicious, but these creepy gas stations, yeah, there's definitely some weird crap going on.
And all these movies that I watch where people from the city are traveling out to the country just for a getaway, and the locals needle at them and make fun of them and stuff. Like I've never understood that. Why they have to do, oh, you're encroaching on our property. We're passing through. What the hell? We're here to spend some money and be on our way. Why do you have to puncture the tires and then tie us up like this was The Strangers Chapter 1? Come on, man.
I've had, when I was younger, a guy chase us with a pickup truck. We were in another vehicle, but he was chasing us down. We were on Crown land because he thought we were going to go into his farm to hunt. Like, we never trespassed, we never did anything. But this guy was so friggin' paranoid that he chased us out to the end of the road and then yelled to make sure we weren't trespassing.
Speaking of weird and creepy people, how are you, Tex? What movie did you watch today as part of your Halloween series? Pardon me, Halloween, your October series. I predicted it was according to your list. Damn it, I've forgotten already, but I have the list. Wonder if I could say it before he. Funhouse Massacre from 1986. They were supposed to review something last Thursday on The Harsh Truth. I can't remember what it was, but they ended up not doing it. Maybe somebody got sick or something. I'm sure he'll fill us in eventually. Yes, that's right. And Terrifier 3, if I remember correctly, comes out on Thursday, October 10th.
I always love the hype to these movies too. Like, oh, people walking out, people doing this. Well, you know what? There's always the one or two idiots that go into a movie like that, not expecting it to be what it is, and they run out of there with their tail between their legs. But like Just, oh, I'm so offended.
There was the one time that I saw George Carlin live, and I think this was 2007. There was one person that walked out. She was an older looking woman from what I can remember. And we all know George Carlin and his material. So for her to walk out, I mean, Carlin's been doing comedy since the 60s. You got to know what you're in for by this point in time.
Yeah. But people do it, and people do it all the time. It's on the tip of my tongue because I read an article, and it was something just absolutely stupid that they got offended over because they didn't understand the context.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's quite a bit of that when it comes to music as well, and lyrics. There was a good example that I saw in the last few days, but now it doesn't come to mind, where I think it was an 80s song, because here's what it was. So, and I had not watched Donnie Darko, so this was just on my mind just because. Echo and the Bunnymen, Killing Moon. Great song. The lyrics, someone in the comments, maybe they were a troll, they somehow connected the lyrics to Satanism. Of course. So that's misinterpretation of lyrics that mean something more personal and deeper. And that's why I can appreciate when someone like Chad Kroeger of Nickelback says that in an interview, he tries to make his lyrics as simple as possible so that there's no misinterpretation whatsoever.
Yeah, because, that was one of those things when I was a kid, well, in high school, where you get the bimbo English teacher telling me what the meaning to the friggin' poem is, when even you read the history on it now and they're like, well, it's open to interpretation. Yeah, most things are, unless the author specifically states what it is. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. And this is why you have to pay attention in school, specifically in English class, when you learn literary devices, similes, metaphors, things of that nature. Of course, in this day and age, drink for that, people use similes all the time, like this, such as that, similar to that. It's likening something to something else. It's overused, just like the word like and the word literally.
Literally. No, but dusk till dawn. Oh, I don't know, because we'd get canceled. I was about to do a Cheech's speech at the beginning, and then I realized that I was live and could be relatives or no. Okay, moving on. No, because I was thinking, because movies don't upset me. The only movie I saw that upset me is because it was too real for me. And I'll get into that in a second. Because of certain things that happened that mimicked what happened in this movie. It was a drama. I'll get to that in a second, because that's my point to all this. But what I'm saying is context. I find movies like Terrifier, to me, I don't like it. It just bores me. Right? So I'm not going to watch it. That's just me, because it's like, oh, here we go. Another bloody this, bloody that. And that floats your boat. That's good. Just like someone would call me. But that's why I think it's like music. Everything's subjective. You can't call somebody out on their taste. You can't lump them as being a psychopath for liking certain types of movies. And you can't lump them as being an idiot because they like comedy. But the movie I'm going to mention that where the trailer blatantly lied to you. Me and my ex-wife were looking for a funny, lighthearted movie during the Oscar season. I'm not rented. Oh, it was a really good movie starring Casey Affleck. And Michelle Williams was in it. And it was called Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah, from 2016, I think.
Yeah. So you watch the trailer to that, and the impression I got was, oh, this is a funny family, kind of little bit of a drama comedy where the uncle's getting to know his nephew and there's all this stuff. Because you look at the trailer, that's exactly how it showed it. No, instead, I got to watch one of the most depressingly tragic films I've ever seen in my life. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to get into what happened, but it was depressing. And something similar happened in my Alex and Nick's hometown about 5 years prior to that, or before that, and was very similar to the main plot of the movie. So that kind of hit the home too. Yeah, but that. Yeah, but Tex, the question I got for you is this a good first date movie? Because my kids are grown and I'm on the market and I'm looking for something to entice entice a date. You want to go see my cellar?
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Oh, God.
I'm still trying to find that movie that the bunch of us watched at April's place in, I swear it was 2000. It was that stupid, low-budget sex comedy. I've been looking at terrible movies from the mid-70s up to the early 80s. Just trash galore, and I still can't find it.
Yeah, I know. It bugs the shit out of me. I thought I found it based on a title a few weeks ago. So I did my usual way of watching movies, found it, and there it was, but it wasn't the same movie. It was Noises Off, I found, because it was similar into that type of a farce of a show.
1991 Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Actually, there was quite a loaded cast on that. Christopher Reeve, Michael Caine, John Ritter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good movie. I like that one. Theater geeks will like that movie.
Yes, yes. That reminded me of when we did that play for the BC Festival of the Arts. Nightmare High, that was the one. And I was stage managing that. And I can't remember who was up in the booth, but someone whined to me on the earphones, quit making noise. Because the mic, right? So it was being rubbed on a little like that. Understandable, but then they kept on whining. So towards the end, I went like that on my chin and never heard a word after that.
Again, Nick, it's open to interpretation.
So, do you have anything, or do you want me to go into my little thing we talked about?
You go for it.
Okay, well, before we start, I wanted to just bring this up because one of my favorite things, and I'm sure you remember them too, was very special episodes of sitcoms growing up where it had a message. And depending on what you were watching, sometimes those messages were either blatantly scare the living shit out of you or they were so bad, like they would make you laugh. I just want to bring this one up just to kind of start it. Just present here, share screen here. Oh, okay. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm going to get this ready. It gave me an idea. But basically what it is when the internet first came out, I thought I had nightmares because these shows were embedded in my brain from when I was a kid. And I'm thinking, no, there's no way that could have been a real episode. Like, I'm 5 years old watching Punky Brewster, and this happens. I'm going to show the video on the other one here in a second, but Punky Brewster was actually pretty notorious for shows on a lighthearted children's show that kind of went beyond, traumatizing a kid, like the very special episode where the Challenger blew up. And they're showing it to you, right? So you're watching it, and okay, fair enough. You want kids to see reality, and considering that was Gen X and or Zennials or elder millennials, whatever the hell you want to call it. But that's how we grew up. Like with very special episodes. The after school specials were great. I looked for this clip. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. But Helen Hunt, when she was a teenager, starred in a movie in the 70s. And it was about the dangers of doing drugs. And someone gave her angel dust. And she starts screaming, waving her arms around, going, "Ah!" and jumps out of a window. Yeah, I shit you not. Funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. But what I'm going to bring up is share screen here. Okay. Select window. Forgive me, people. I knew at doing this.
Oh, where has Helen Hunt on Angel Dust been all my life? I can't wait to see this.
Well, that's what I'm trying to find it. Okay, yeah, I think I found it here. There we go. Holy crap. There we go. There, just do it that way. I got nothing to hide. Okay, so this is called Sherry Lifesaver. And this happened in an episode of Punky Brewster. Let me know if you can hear the sound.
Okay. I cannot.
Okay, gotta do it that way. Shit.
Well, it's got closed captioning. Maybe we can make out what's going on just from that.
Yeah, that actually may help. Because there is... Okay, so we got this. So basically they were playing hide and seek, and their friend locks themselves in a refrigerator.
Like you do. Yeah.
No. Yeah. Now they found her. She's not breathing. Okay, Captain Lassard.
I didn't pay attention. Wow. This is why you should pay attention in school, kids, or else your friends will die.
Yeah. But 1986, when this aired, I would have been probably 4. Just point this out.
Although it does teach it should teach the very important skill of CPR.
Which it doesn't. The whole point of the episode was to teach kids not to play in refrigerators. Shit you not. So then you see them do the CPR, and then that's pretty much it. And then they give you kind of like a brief recut, like a recap at the end. But here's the other Punky Brewster. This is the one that scarred people for life. Okay, this is one of the kids in it. So again, you're 4, 5 years old, watching your kid-friendly show, or the giant spider that attacks Punky Brewster. And the whole thing is she meets oh yeah, and of course, let's just make it creepier by adding Vincent Schiavelli.
Great actor.
Great actor. But if he was in, and I couldn't, now I just had a brain fart a moment here. That's why he scared the living shit out of me in Ghost. And friggin', what the hell was that other one that he was in? Oh, yeah, Batman Returns. Because I couldn't remember where I saw him from. Well, no, it was embedded in my brain. And this is her slaying something. There's the dancing skeleton of her friend. Could you imagine something that looked like it was like off of It? Did you ever watch any of these? And I'm gonna mention like Punky Brewster or Different Strokes or Webster.
Not a single one, no.
Okay. This one, I have the time stamped. So I'm going to put this in a different browser. I'm going to stop sharing here. And I'm going to put this in a different browser because this is something I wanted to bring. And I think the hilarity of this episode is unintentional. And this is a two-part episode I'm going to bring up here. And when I bring it up, I just want you to realize that it's a 50-minute episode. And, well, you'll see why the beginning to this is quite inappropriate, as I think. Share screen. Yeah, getting the hang of this stuff. There we go. Okay.
Can't hear him, but oh well, maybe.
Hang on, let's see if I can get
copyright.
Well, there's no music, but essentially he's basically he's doing his whole thing there. And he's doing the show. God, that's annoying. So he's like, this is a serious episode. And, the subject matters we're talking about, blah, 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 blah. And then have a good evening. And then there's the theme song's like, like happy, joyful, high energy. So this is called The Bicycle Man. You ever familiar with the show WKRP in Cincinnati?
Yes.
Okay. Well, the actor that played the lovable Mr. Carlson in that is actually playing a child predator in this one. Yeah.
Why didn't they get a more seasoned and experienced actor like Jeffrey Jones?
Well, essentially what happens in the episode is he takes the little kids and he invites them into behind his bike shop. So there he is visiting with them and they're talking, right? Okay, so you have this, they're talking, they're doing all this. But then you go ahead 10 minutes and he meets the boys after school for secret time. Now they're looking at his porn collection. Okay? Okay. So they're looking at the porn collection. He's also showing them a variation of, I think, Fritz the cat.
Oh.
They don't say it specifically. So now he's making pizza for the boys. I'm just going to skip ahead. Oh, yeah. So they're eating pizza, talking about acting like older men. Oh, and here comes the next part. That's wine. Oh, come on, boys. You can have some wine with me. Yeah, so the boys are drinking the wine. And the first part of the episode ends with him taking pictures of the boys without wearing any shirts.
Oh my god. What the
Okay. So Gary Coleman's character in the second part runs home, blah, 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 blah. They start watching the dirty cartoon together. This is right before. Meanwhile, the boys are getting loaded. And I think Gary Coleman decides to go home. So they're sitting there, they're talking, and at the end of the episode, he's like, "Oh, I got something special for you. I got something special." So he feeds them food, okay? This is where it gets creepy. He's feeding them, looks like key lime pie, while showing them another dirty film.
my god. And this was on TV.
Yes, and it was I think this episode was 84 or 85. So I'd say 90% of the households didn't have more than ABC, NBC, and CBS. Yeah. So look at these kids' faces. You know they're looking at something not good. And then, okay, so this is the kid's dad, like not Gary Coleman, but this is the other kid's dad, wondering where his kid is. Then Gary Coleman comes home and they start talking about it. Well, he was weird. I don't know what's going on. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. That's weird. So then they go. And then they rescue him. They find him in the bathroom, and the kid looks and he's like, "Oh, my head's fuzzy. I don't know if he did anything." So, yeah, that was a very special episode. What pisses me off, though, I wish the sound would work, because I think the best thing ever was Saved by the Bell and the caffeine pills. And she starts singing, "I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm scared."
I think Nick mentioned that a few shows back. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. Well, there's a visual of it.
And while you're looking for that, I'm going to show everyone the other thing you were talking about. This is, of course, from cracked.com. Remembering when Helen Hunt threw herself out a 2-story window.
Yes. Yes.
There's a sentence I didn't know that I needed, but I needed that sentence. Yes. Oh, poor Helen Hunt. And this was, I think, 1981. Helen Hunt jumps out of a window. Wow. Boom. Awesome.
And she's still
going. Wow. Well, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Somehow Desperate Lives was the second anti-PCP made-for-TV movie that featured Helen Hunt during her early career in 1981. Wow. But Angel dusted.
The scary part about PCP is I personally know 2 people that have accidentally taken PCP because someone put it on weed.
Ooh.
I'm talking like 20, 30 years ago, but still.
Back then, it was PCP. Nowadays, it would be fentanyl.
Yeah. Good old fentanyl. Okay. So, again, I don't have whatever you call it, volume, but
Our audience will surely appreciate your narration.
There we go. But I got my costume. Oh no, I don't have time. What am I doing? I did caffeine pills. Caffeine pills. Oh, now he's going to be comforted. Oh, and she's going to start singing. Oh, yeah, she pops another pill. Caffeine pills.
But it's not really caffeine, is it?
Now she's like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And she's going to start crying and say, I'm so scared. And then a few short years later, we got to see her vagina in Showgirls.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But, and then there's an episode of something that I'm not even going to show because it's that disturbing. But, well, actually, we'll look at the visual to this one. And that one, my friends, is a show called All in the Family.
Oh.
And in that episode, which I'll go to right now, it's Edith Bunker's 50th birthday. This guy broke into her house. Archie's out back cooking. The entire clip itself was 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Okay? From beginning to end. If you can see Edith's bra strap kind of exposed there. This is her fighting back. So we're watching an episode of All in the Family in the early 70s, trying to enjoy this poor woman's 50th birthday, only to watch her for, I don't know, a couple hours, for at least 5 solid minutes of getting sexually assaulted. Again, this was on TV. Could you imagine something that graphic nowadays?
I don't watch TV nowadays, but I've heard people talk about, complain, exaggerate perhaps, that they're having sex on TV and they're killing people on TV. Maybe on HBO, if that's your thing. But regular TV, no. I don't even think NYPD Blue got to that point.
No. And that's the thing. TV isn't like what it was when we were kids. But I find if I'm watching like a regular sitcom or something stupid like that, it hasn't changed. It's still mellow. The jokes may be more risque, but in the long run, it's actually the same. Like, then you get into HBO, which is just wild. My daughter asked me to make sure I marked it for her on Crave. This show called Euphoria. I have never seen so much boobs in a high school based drama in my life. And I ain't talking just like, ooh, no, I'm talking graphic sex scenes. HBO, you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
But like shows like Big Bang Theory or Young Sheldon is, nah. TV hasn't changed that much.
But you know what has changed? And of course, I'm talking about AI. It is the perception of what AI thinks golf is like in Canada. Nick shared this one with me. And muting for possible copyright. Yeah. Of course, it's Canada, so you have to have beavers, a moose. What the fuck? beer drinking, and hockey.
And of course, it has to be the Oilers. I found a record that was actually recorded here back in 74, I believe. And it was actually world famous snow golf they used to have in Prince, where you would play golf in the snow.
What the fuck was that? How did that
was
go, I wonder?
Well, it went really well, but it was an excuse for the boomers back in the day to get just pie-eyed off of whatever they could for booze. It's like Mackenzie in their pig days back in the 70s and early 80s.
Oh, yes, the pig roasts. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember one of those, and that was out in Ganahaz. So either Ganahaz or just past it.
Yeah, they used to do it, I think, just past it in one of the pits.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was just like copious amounts of liquor. And that's all everyone did was eat pork and just party.
Yep. Yep, but I'm pretty sure Dad drove home that night. I don't think he was that big a boozer at something like that.
Yeah, but let's just say I got some very questionable relatives that did questionable things back in those days.
Hey!
I made it.
Look who it is.
That was a long fucking day.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Hey, that's not a bad time though. What time is it? 8:11. So 13 hours and 10 minutes to get to Edmonton and back.
Oof.
That's a fast run.
I was gonna say, were you speeding?
Especially on the QE. Especially on the Q. Okay, so here's the fucked up thing. I'm doing a fast speed and not too reprehensible. I have people that I can't catch and are passing me still. I just okay. So it's a 4-lane highway. Let's just it's 110 and I was doing about maybe between 10 and 20 over the speed limit. And I had people driving by me like I was sitting still. Like here for a minute, I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to pass a lot of people. No, I got to literally sit kind of in the hammer lane, and every once in a while I had to go, all right, I'll move over. And this, they've like, boom, past me. So
that reminds me of at least one trip you and I did to Prince George. And this picture will encompass exactly what I'm talking about. When the stranger you've been speeding with takes his exit. We did that once. I remember there was I think he was a guy in a car and we were trailing him. I think he would pass us and then we would pass him. That happened once. And then I think it was just before Prince George, he took an exit. And we kind of did the old thank you for your service kind of thing.
Yeah. Because I had to explain to Cole, I kept saying my rabbit. Not thinking, I used to call it a rabbit. And he finally said, okay, Dad, what do you mean by a rabbit? I said, oh. I was like, I guess that's an old school saying. It's like, well, greyhound racing, they would chase a rabbit. So then I had a gray Jeep Cherokee was my rabbit today. It just went past me. And I was like, all right, cool. Now I did break the rabbit rule though, because I did lose the sight of them for a bit and I should have slowed down because I lost my rabbit, but then I found them again. So, I don't know where you were in the discussion, but of course I'm talking because I had in a safe manner, the phone was down on the thing and those comments. I got Colin to type them in for me while I was driving. And I'm saying things. I'm like, hey, don't keep typing. Like, we actually have a ghost town near us called Walter.
Ooh.
And there's a couple people, I guess it's like ghost towns, a couple people that live out there, but like there's a bunch of signs where the old stores were. Like this is where the Petro-Can was, and where this where the Esso was. So yeah.
Well,
And go ahead, Brian.
in theory, oh, I was just going to say, in theory, Frank is still there. It's just underneath the mountain.
Oh, Frank, yes, like Frank slide. Yeah, no, yeah, I'm talking about Walter. Walter's just north of town. But yeah, Frank is cool. It's eerie. Actually, we went there a few years ago, just to go check out, like walk, like because of course you drive right through where the slide was, right? So yeah.
And of course, Tex being in Texas, all highways or interstates are apparently the Autobahn. So,
I don't hate slow drivers. I hate people that drive like idiots in the winter up here. That's what pisses me off.
What I hate is what the red tags are guilty of is every time you get around a curve, they all slow down. And then as soon as you get to a straight stretch or a passing lane, 120. Yeah. They all do it. All of them. And I now realize why I will never move back to BC. Because fuck 2-lane highways. They suck.
Yeah.
yeah.
They suck so much. So,
But when you're going through a mountain pass, say between, I think it's Headley and Karamias, but it's somewhere in there. That's all you've got is a 2-lane because it's really windy and up and down. They could only do so much.
Well, I don't have to like it.
But we were promised 4 or 5 separate governments in the last 20 years that we were supposed to get 4 lanes from Prince George to Kamloops.
Really?
A good chunk of the highway between Prince and Quesnel's 4-lane up till about Stoner. But but then after the new way scale, it goes to 2 lanes, and then there's periodic sections. It used to be like that, the Grand Prairie way in the 90s. They didn't even have a chunk of the 4 lanes built. So you'd take 2 lanes to Grand Prairie, and then you'd have 30 clicks of 4-lane, and then 2-lane again. Oh, it was a nightmare highway back in the day.
I remember actually when I moved out here to Alberta back in 2004, they were just finishing, I think it was Highway 41. That's when you go north out of Whitecourt towards Grand Prairie. They were still finishing it then.
We've done close to that on gravel road.
The old Blazer, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, back roads to 22 Mile, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the advantage to the 22 Mile road is you knew where every bad spot was, so you could pin her where you needed to and slow down because you knew it was coming.
Exactly.
Yep. If you didn't slow down, you were going to break an axle or two.
Yeah.
And you get that washboard and you're going, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else was it you were talking about? Ryan, were you at the theater with me when we watched the first Scary Movie?
Yep.
Do you not remember the mom that got up with the kids after the dick stabbed through the bathroom door?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, Ryan, I think I know Alex wasn't. I think Alex was gone by then. But I remember Ryan's like, I'm sure Ryan was there. But like, as soon as, because of course it goes through the Wayans brothers' head, like the mom got up with her kids and left. And I remember thinking, that's finally what made you leave? That's
like towards the end too.
Right? That's where I'm getting at. Like, you sat for that long before you went, oh, that was just too much for me. Oh, okay. I won't play the video because I don't know who owns it. I'll just put the pause screen up here because it just came up on my Facebook. All of us old guys will love this. Remember these? So no, that's the wrong button. No, you're gone for a week and share This one. Remember those costumes?
Yep.
Well, this the shit rubber and with the horrible mask, but you had to buy a size too big to fit your snow snoot under it. That's awesome. That is awesome.
I was going through a list of Halloween costumes I had in elementary school that I would have been canceled for. Everyone knows the Aunt Jemima one.
Yep.
I won a contest with that, but I dressed up as a bum another year. You do that, canceled.
Do you think you'd be canceled if you dressed up as a hobo now?
I've heard things. I've heard that ultra whiners, the virtue signalers that say it's offensive to appropriate bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either that or they think you're a SoundCloud rapper.
Well, I've been, I started watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. There's 3 episodes at least where they're in full blackface. There's an episode where they actually turn African American. But they parodied it, like they made fun of themselves doing it. Essentially, in the plot was they were making Lethal Weapon 5, then they made Lethal Weapon 6, and then Lethal Weapon 7, they weren't allowed to have blackface. So they got a pimp and a black hooker to play Murtaugh and his daughter.
All right.
Oh, Jesus, you're so lucky, Tex. Back in the mid to late 80s, when we would go trick-or-treating, we had to get in full snowsuit gear before we put on the costume. And I'm talking, 30 below or so?
Oh. It would be so cold the rubber, the plastic suit would crack and break.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 degrees Celsius, and I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
Yeah, get rid of the rest of the world, Tex.
I don't think you guys were in this neighborhood because it was kind of up near Mac 1. It was like off of Crysdale near the cow path. But back in the day, the Catholic Church owned a house there, and that's where the local priest would live. Well, the guy was nice enough because most churches aren't, especially Catholic, aren't going to open their doors for trick-or-treaters on Halloween. So the priest did it. So you went into his entrance and he was having an apple bobbing contest. So yeah, it was horrific at the point because you go in there, it's minus like 10, 11 outside. You're going to be covered in water. And then as a special bonus, I don't know what the hell the guy was thinking, but if you looked at the apple, there were slits on them. You know, the old urban legend of the razor blade in the apple?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he put coins in them just to be a nice guy, but like just complete, like.
So I literally just got, I changed the video because NBC applied a copyright match to my video because I paused that video, just a picture, a still. It was just a picture. It said at 8:10. I don't think I've been here that long. Did you guys play a video or something before I came?
It had no sound, the Saved by the Bell thing. That's what they nailed us on.
What they nailed you on. Okay.
I'm sure we could cut that out if need be.
Okay.
Yeah, because it had no sounds.
Okay.
Hey, Tex, it wasn't on my knees, so it wasn't that bad.
But you still had to hobble home.
Yeah.
No, my mom came and got me. I was young.
Jesus. Do you remember going into a Tim Hortons when it looked like that? I remember going into the one across from the mall where the theater is. I wanted to say where the Woodwards was. I remember
that's the same one.
I don't know if this is the picture.
No, seriously, someone posted this on the Prince George history one today, and this is the one by Parkwood Mall.
Oh, this one. Oh, okay. Because it just says Old Canada series. Okay, cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I remember I was in a Tim Hortons that looked just like that. That's the one. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And they were smoking inside. Wow.
All right. I'm just going to sit back and shut up now. You can do your videos. I made my appearance. I don't got no fuck around and find out or anything. So
I got one for you just to keep your spirit alive since you're technically dead.
yes.
I don't know if you were here that
Oh,
early.
I was here. That's why I said zombie garbage man.
Yeah. All right. So here is Nick's future ex-wife. This is a simpler one. Of course, I stack this up with stupid people. Does it need an introduction, I wonder? Probably not. Well, okay, yes, because we're on the highway for this one. Idiot in lifted Impreza decides to floor it, causes mayhem. So I may have to pause this at the beginning. All right, so we are looking at the lane to the right of the dash cam, and we are looking at the silver or white car, and you'll see them speed up. Yeah, there he goes. He passes a car, and he decides to do the old doodly-doo right about there. Oh.
Boom.
A fuck for Ranger.
Yep.
Wow. I saw that so much today.
Or close to it.
Well, sorry, yeah, lots of that jumping across lanes like that. Oof. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the QE2 though. I do.
Pause. Exit 150, University Place 130. Oh, the QE2 is amazing.
I think that's the only highway marker we have here.
What? See, yeah, it looks like American. Okay, you never know. So,
and I think the lesson, although it doesn't need to be spelled out for anyone, is take your time when you're driving.
yep.
But no. And that leads us directly into this. You ever tried to move wood when you're driving?
Yeah.
No, this is not code for masturbation while in a vehicle. No. I'm talking about actually trying to move lumber in your vehicle while you're driving. Well, this is what this guy did. Whoa.
Oh, no.
Oh
my gosh.
It's in Texas. It's in Texas.
Yes, because you can see on the sign right about there.
With the state of Texas right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like law. You had to own at least 75 guns in a pickup truck in Texas.
Boom.
Oh.
And he just keeps going.
Here's your sign. Well, at this point, he's like, fuck, I'm out.
Do you know what though? Had he put down the back seat, it would have went right up to the windshield, and there would have been none of this.
Mm-hmm. And he could have just made sure to have proper marking on the back of the wood that was hanging out the back.
Yeah, I think the rule is, and it is here in British Columbia, if it's sticking out longer than 4 feet, you have to identify it somehow. Most people use that orange stretchy tape or whatever that is.
Yeah, flagger's tape.
Yeah.
Yep. Surveyor's tape. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm tired.
I won't be too much longer.
No, I didn't have to come in, but no, you take your time. If I have a nap on air, maybe that'll get some viewers. I don't know.
Giggity.
Sleep stream. All right. So kind of like bowling, you remember the Mackenzie lanes, they had the 5-pin bowling. Well, This is 3-pin.
Strike!
And watch the right side of the screen for the owner to come out after the windshield wipers go on. Comes out arms raised. Did I do that?
Oh my gosh. What did I hit?
Yeah. A fucker came out of nowhere. A little bit of 40-year-old version for you.
Oh. And of course, you can't have stupid people without having someone in the gym. Yes. Oh, Tex, I don't know if you were here earlier. Casey was, because Casey was the first one here.
Oh, yes.
But Tex, if you want this, I have this new intro for Casey, lovable human that he is. And I stole this from Frank from the Sleepaway Camp review that you guys did last week. So, Tex, thank you for being here almost all this time. And this is stolen from Frank about Casey.
Have you seen my wiener?
I laughed pretty hard. Can't even lie. I laughed. Yeah.
I'll go with something that is definitely on the ego level, but no one gets hurt. Now, maybe this will cause discussion for a good 30 seconds. This is called Fitness Level Infinity.
Oh. Bravo.
Yeah, difficult to do. Yep.
Good core strength. Like amazing core strength. Now, are those, they're 45s. Okay.
Yep.
I was like, is he using CrossFit weights? But those are 45s.
Now, is he doing it to show off, or is he saving time by combining exercises? He's definitely training the upper and the lower body being the stabilizer for the press that he's doing. I will send you that once the show is done, Tex.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. There's nothing really to discuss. That's pretty impressive.
All
No,
right.
like, yeah.
Oh. So then we have to balance that out with our friend El Campeón. No sound, of course. Shout out to OE Fitness, which I scooped these clips from. Sure, it's impressive that he can move the weight, but is he really doing anything?
Not at all.
Well, I'm sure this is like,
It'll make his chiropractor really happy.
Like this, like it's funny is if you look at him, it looks like he's in decent shape. Oh my god! What? Did I send this to you? Because I don't remember going this far watching it.
No.
Okay.
He's doing them burn reps, bro. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Ooh,
Just got to come in off the street and pump the triceps, bro.
yeah. Just. Oh wow! I like using that for my chest because I like to go tight and then down, and like hold it. Yeah. Oh god, I hate.
Sweet.
Oh Lord.
Oh, and I'm gonna give you this other clip that I found of Bryce Mitchell. If you remember Bryce Mitchell, he's an MMA fighter, and he questioned the legitimacy of satellites the last time we saw him. This is a little bit different.
You know who uses all the helium on the planet? 98, 99% of the
Oh
helium.
my god!
Go ahead.
No.
Take a guess.
Shit, I don't know. I'm like stupid today.
Balloons. Just say
Well,
balloons.
I'll tell you, ain't no guess.
No,
I'll tell you.
It ain't the Jews, is it?
It ain't no guess. Well, they probably run the shit. I'll tell you.
That's the Hodge twins, for anyone who didn't know.
Yeah.
And so the question is, who uses 98 to 99% of the helium on
Party
the
City.
planet?
Party
Who
City.
uses 98% of the helium? I'll tell you who uses 99% of the helium. NASA. Now, why the fuck they gonna use helium if they can put rockets in space? They can't put rockets in space. It is blocked by the firmament. The firmament mentioned in Genesis separates the waters above from the waters below. There's a firmament, an impenetrable barrier. And most Christians don't even believe in the firmament. Most of them don't. And then I come out and say, hey, I know what the firmament is. It's in the shape of a rainbow. In fact, that's how rainbows are formed.
Can you stop for a second?
How do you get curved light?
This guy's been punched in the head a lot, right?
Yes.
Okay, continue. Go ahead.
Makes a rainbow. It has to be mirroring something that's curved exactly the same as it, the same angulation.
Like water too, right?
Exactly. If you put white light on a prism, a flat prism, you're going to get a reflected rainbow, a straight rainbow.
Now, I've not tested that science, so he does seem to know what he's talking about in that instance, but I would need someone who knows something about that to chime in.
This guy's W is fucking illegitimate kid, for Christ's sake.
And I think it was said many times that the flat earth conspiracy was started on 4chan as a joke, but because of what he's talking about with regards to the firmament, a lot of Christians believe in the flat earth because of how the earth is described in the earlier parts of the Bible.
Now, look, here's the thing. To make a rainbow curve, it has to be in. Are rainbows ever a different shape? Do you ever see a rainbow zigzagging?
No, it's just curved.
They all curve. Guess what? That is because it is mimicking the shape of the firmament. The firmament is like of glass, mentioned in Job. It is like molten glass, and it is a reflective surface, so we can see right through it into the heavens. You can look up and see in the stars the heaven. That when you look up, that's heaven that you're seeing. You're looking through the firmament that it talks about in Genesis. Now, here's another thing that once again, if you're a Christian, you're going to have to pick. Do you believe NASA or do you believe the Bible? Takes all the helium. The satellites are on balloons, buddy.
I'm going to play that part again.
The satellites are on balloons, buddy.
And crowd facepalm.
They put it on balloon, and then it floats. It's that simple.
That's got to be a powerful damn balloon.
Well, check this out.
That shit heavy as hell.
Okay, pull up a video of a satellite getting rediscovered. They fall down all the time. What do they got attached to them? Every time. Balloon. They're fucking balloons, okay? They're not nothing. They ain't up in no rocket. You can't go.
It's not zero gravity.
Gravity ain't real.
Holy shit!
Not zero gravity.
Gravity ain't real. There ain't no such thing as gravity. It's Freemason symbolism. It's all bullshit, brother. There's no such thing as gravity.
Like
why does a rock fall in the water? Because of gravity? Don't you bullshit me. Tell me, why does a rock fall in the water?
Because it's heavy.
What's the word for it? Come on.
Density.
Yes. Yes. Density's why things fall. Things don't fall because... Oh, okay. Here's another thing, okay? If NASA's correct, the sun, the temperature on the moon's surface would be over boiling water.
Right.
You realize that? Because it has no
atmosphere.
atmosphere to block the sun's light. So the temperature would be some 240 degrees. You really think it's 240 up there and they're up there? No,
Run around in suit.
The rubber on the tires would melt.
We are all now stupider for listening to that.
But you see, because back in, when the earth was made 2024 years ago, Jeebus came down through the glass dome, and then, after we got on our knees and started sucking each other off, we had nothing left to do.
Yes. Kim could hear you. She's giggling. Gravity ain't real. Man, you need to cut some clips out of that shit. We need that just for the show.
Yeah. Gravity!
All right.
Gravity ain't real. If a rock drops in water, why does it drop?
I hope we don't get clipped for that one, but shout out to the Hodge twins for having that guy on and letting him speak his piece.
Oh.
And Tex of all people is calling this guy a waterhead. No, I'm kidding, Tex. I'm kidding. Oh man. Oh, I'm spent.
I don't think you can top that.
Wow.
You needed. There's some clips that have to come out of that for this show.
Okay.
Like there's a couple there, just some nuggets that we need. Wow.
All right. So, do you want to go out on that high note?
Yeah, I
Gravity
think
ain't
that.
real?
And let Ryan, you got to do music or something because that was great. I have nothing ready. So, like I said, I was doing a last minute run in. So,
Well, let me see. Music wise, I started listening to again some old Pink Floyd, and nothing beats sitting in the dark, feeling good. I ain't gonna promote what makes you feel good, but just feel good and mellow. Put on your earbuds and listen to Dark Side of the Moon.
technically, isn't
In the
all
dark.
Pink Floyd old now?
Well, apparently, yeah. But they just sold their entire
I saw
collection
that,
for
yeah.
$500 million.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, 400 mil, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Jesus could could forgive Bryce Mitchell for what he said.
Oh, but I will add this. Anyone looking for a good show to watch that makes fun of the evangelical Christians, check out Righteous Gemstones on HBO. Damn good show. It's funny. For those of you that like wrestling, you got the second season, which shows how he went from being a friggin' heel to being the leader of the biggest church in the States.
And shout out to Kenneth Vitato. Look on his channel for an e-bike.
Apparently.
I guess that's what's going on here.
Okay. Good job, Kenneth.
It's a growth market.
I like that. Vitato.
All right. I'm tired. I'm taking off. Love you guys. I did my run in. Have a great week. I'll
Thank
talk to you
you.
guys later.
Okay.
Take care.
Oi, oi.
Gravity ain't real. And movies. These ones I saw quite a while ago, so forgive me if I don't remember every part of it, but from 2004, an animated film called Hair High, a gothic 50s high school comedy about a love triangle that goes terribly bad. That part I remember, as two young murdered teens return to their prom to get revenge. Written and directed by Bill Plimpton, it stars, get out of here, it stars Sarah Silverman, Dermot Mulrooney, Beverly D'Angelo, David Carradine, Keith Carradine, Martha Plimpton, Tom Noonan, Justin Long, Ed Begley Jr., who I saw in a movie today with Jeff Goldblum called Transylvania 6-5000. Not bad. Michael Richards was the highlight of that movie. Craig Bierko, J.O. Sanders, Matt Groening, and Don Hertzfeld. Now, the reason I went into the cast is so I could bring up Don Hertzfeld, because he is director and writer, and he did, from 2011, It's Such a Beautiful Day, which is my second recommendation. This is based on a short film he did. Well, this is the short film, pardon me. There is a longer film version. There it is. This is from 2012. Sorry, I didn't see the short film version. I saw this version. It's an adult animation for good reason, because the subject matter, it's not on the Fritz the Cat level kind of adult theme, but it's pretty dark at times. So, but this is very well put together. It's got an 8.5 out of 10 for a very good reason. So if you can find a copy of this, please watch it. It's done very, very well. Trying to put together something like that takes a lot of time, and he did a great job. And a movie that I won't recommend anyone watch is called Saturday the 14th. I watched this because I was looking for terrible movies to recommend that Tex watch, but I don't even recommend this to him. There's no boobs. There's very little blood and violence. It has nothing to do with Friday the 13th because it's set in a house. It's not even set at a New Jersey campsite. This is garbage. So no one needs to watch Saturday the 14th. They tried and they failed hard. So there you have it.
Oh, of course he, of course he did.
I don't even know why I bother, but I'm still going to bother because you never know. Just not, yeah, of course, that's the loophole in the United States. Yes.
Hey, I'm still a registered reverend somewhere, so I could go. I don't know. I did that back in dial-up days, so I've been a reverend for come 27 years.
And you can't remember what website that was?
Oh, I know. It was Universal Life Church out of Modesto, California. And that's apparently the one that all the people use to marry anybody because you can do that in many states. Canada, you can't. But in the States, oh, yeah, you ordain yourself, you could be marrying the bathtub.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. Yes. I don't know about hilarious. I was pretty stone-faced for most of that movie. So I'm going to have to give you one of these.
Hey, before we go, what was the last movie you couldn't finish and you walked out of?
I don't think I've ever done that. Well, I haven't done that in over 20 years. And I think the only reason that I did stop something or walk out was because of time constraints. If I sit down to watch a movie, I'm there for the duration. Doesn't matter how long the movie is or how bad it is, I'm watching the entire thing.
Yeah, I'm that way too. I think the last time was when me and Nick walked out first, but the rest of us followed shortly after, and that was AI at the old Tyee.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I've seen
I
some
remember.
pretty shitty movies. Oh, yes, I've heard it's quite the partial birth abortion.
I watched that on the weekend, and it's just like the first one. It follows the theme of mental illness, but of course, pardon me. Of course, it brings in singing because Lady Gaga is in it, and it probably speaks to how art influences people's mental illness or something like that. I appreciated that they did something different with it as opposed to, if you look at the story, it's just a regular guy in prison goes to trial kind of thing. Why not spice it up with a little bit of music? I'm not a big musical guy, but I appreciate that they tried something different.
Yeah, I'll see it when I get to it. I got like 150 movies in my library, and there's about 30 I need to watch.
Wow.
But I picked some really crap fests because I'm on a nostalgia kick. So if I've seen it once, I want to watch it again just to remember it. And some have been good surprises. Some have been, what am I doing?
Yeah. And that harkens back to what Nick had said in the past about watching something as a kid and loving it, and then watching it again as an adult and realizing, man, this is trash.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why I probably won't watch Return to Oz, because that was the first movie I saw that really was a down in the dumps movie, as opposed to the first one, which was lighthearted and great. And for whatever reason, I liked it. I liked Return to Oz, so I'm going to keep it that way by not watching it again.
That's a good idea because the only thing I remember about Return to Oz was, like I mentioned before, is one of those movies that I can't remember if it was a fever dream or it was actually real because of the imagery in it.
Yeah. And we're going to leave everyone on that downer of a note. Return to Oz. And in this case, it is Return to Alex and the Redneck. We thank everyone for being here, including Kenneth, Tex, Bolo, Dr. Nick, who chimed in, and Casey, who was here at the beginning. We thank you all very much for being here. People who we haven't seen in a while and we hope are doing well. Ginger, especially. That's why she's at the top of the list. Overseer, Shlomo, really, Lady Cora, Frank Jr., Van, Coos to Van, Wild Bill, Penny, Jen, Tamara, Amanda, my friends, Sarah and Teresa, our friends, Matt and James, both Trevors, both Cindy's, both Jolene's, Nathan, Nick's mom, my Auntie Kathy, and shout outs to Gareth, Susan, Ravi, and Ashley. Movie theater trivia you'll never see before the feature. How many victims did Arthur Fleck actually have? The real answer is 7. And the scene that was cut in 2019's Joker was the absolute slaying of Gloria Pouchfonte's quiche-smelling uterus. And Bill Clinton approves.
Ahoy, hoy.
Ryan, thank you so much for being here. It was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was great seeing you guys.
We shall be back next Monday, October the 14th. Text whatever day you want to pop on and do more horror like we did last year. Feel free. We could do it in November once your schedule has died down with all the movies you're watching. But until then, we shall return. And of course, we leave you with a moment of Zed that will leave you perhaps face-palmed. Everyone, thank you so much and take care.
Suck my white ass ball!
Oh, fuck you!
Now you will go to sleep, or I will put you to sleep.